Welcome to the SUNY Schenectady Summer Music Series, where we'll bring you concerts on most Thursdays this summer. Tonight you're going to hear Rebecca Schmid and Niamh Schmid, both graduates of the School of Music at SECC, performing the Four Chopin Ballades. Each ballade is an epic work, and I mean that in the literal sense. It's truly a long story. And all of these ballades represent what's most ideal of what we refer to as the Romantic era in music. So each ballade is an adventure, a journey. And my favorite part about these ballades is sort of the opening, especially the fourth ballade and the first ballade, as if to say, in a way, once upon a time. The music is sort of improvisatory in a way. And Rebecca, I'd like to ask you if you would play the opening of the fourth ballade. Great, go ahead. Great, beautiful. So it's serene. What do you think it's meant to do, actually, this opening? How do you hear it? And what happens right after? Do you think that's the beginning of the piece really begins just after?
Yes, this beginning to me feels almost, compare it to a flashback sequence in a movie where we have this tragic sort of character and we see their happy past. We get that idea immediately after it goes into that single note, sort of breaking out of that flashback and pulls us into the theme. And sort of we meet our main character.
That's a great way of putting it, because in a way he's beginning to say, you know, I had a great life here, but let me tell you my story.
And we only ever hear that opening theme one more time in the piece, and even then it's not complete. We don't get it to the full extent we have it.
So where does that happen?
So that's like right splat in the middle of the piece. After a very tumultuous section, it fades back into it, and we have sort of
Wow, that is cool. And I think also, well, besides these being epic pieces, the technical demands are immense for all four. It's amazing that you decided to do all four. Just one of them is a huge commitment. But getting back to the fourth ballade, and we could spend all night just talking about them. Right before the coda, right after all of this emotion, this incredible, is it a C major chord that happens? Right. It's just such an amazing passage. Let's give a sneak preview to that, if it's okay. We can hear just a little bit of that, and maybe just a tiny bit of the opening of the coda.
Sure. I'll pull it up just in case, but like you said, it's this huge smokeless piece, and then we just suddenly land on.
Wow. Such great music. All right, and let's go to another beginning, which I think is also very unusual, very sort of important, is the first ballade. So Niamh, you're playing the Ballade number 1, and it's in G minor, although I don't think we start on a G minor chord, or we have a sense of being in G minor till a bit later. So would you play a little bit of that and maybe explain what you feel is going on with that opening?
Sure. So, obviously, as you see, it starts totally different than how it ends. And that's because we aren't starting on the tonic, which is the G minor chord. We're
Right.
actually doing a Neapolitan, which is the lowered second degree of the scale. And so that gives it an A flat major feel instead.
Right. And so there's a kind of an improvisatory feel, as if you're creating it right there on stage yourself. I
Yeah.
think you, and you're maybe looking at a map about how are you going to get there, and A flat is maybe not the right road, but then let's keep going with that so we feel how we get into G minor, and maybe the opening phrase of the piece.
Sure.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, and then there's the opening theme, and then the trip starts. Yeah. Amazing pieces. And I guess we haven't discussed number 2 or number 3. Of course, you'll hear them in a few minutes. Number 2, you're playing that one, Niamh, as well. If you had just a few words to say about that, what would you say?
Well, I guess if I were to describe it, when I was starting to learn it, it struck me as a story that's being told, but that has already finished, in the sense of the storyteller that's telling it has already been involved in the story, and it's kind of like a bittersweet hindsight. If
He's
that,
lived through it, yeah. And
yeah,
to me, the opening is so beautiful and serene, and what could go wrong? And of course, it's you know that it's something is going to happen. So to me, it has a huge stark contrast from the opening to the middle section. I'm not
yeah.
going to give that away. You'll have to hear that yourself. And then Rebecca, the third ballade, which is just beautiful. There's no, almost no conflict involved with that. Would you play just the opening of that for a second? Right. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think we don't have to worry about that one. We're safe to watch the whole thing. All right, thanks so much. I hope that you're going to enjoy. I know you're going to enjoy tonight's concert. And let's see, our next concert will be August 6th, Thursday, August 6th, featuring Bobby Frazier. He's bass baritone, and he'll be singing works of Schubert, Schumann, Brahms, Debussy, and Vaughan Williams. So enjoy the concert.